I am Jacqui Duran, and I wanted to share with you a beginner's guide to working in Excel when it comes to your business. I'm going to be very high level at a lot of what I'm going to share with you today. Um, I just want to go over some basics because in a recent Work at Wednesday with several different team members and consultants, a lot of questions were brought up about, like if we're going to run a report in our workstation, exporting it to Excel. And some of us may not feel very comfortable in Excel. And that's just, that's it, right? We may not feel comfortable. So if you are one of those people who doesn't feel comfortable, so you've never used it, that's what I'm here for today, is to help you feel more comfortable with it. I personally have been using Excel for a lot of years. When I worked for the health system, in my corporate job, I did accounting. And so I lived and breathed spreadsheets for so many years. So many years. And while that was great, it was also very, draining at the same time. So I do have a love-hate relationship when it comes to Excel. But I am a certified trainer in Excel. So why not bring some of those skills to you guys? Because I want you as leaders to be able to start feeling more confident in your business. So that's what we are here to do. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm trying to give you as much real world looking things as I can. But with that said, I also don't want to share my customer info or personalized info, things like that, right? I don't want that shared because this is going to go on YouTube, right? No one wants their information shared. So it might be a little difficult. We might have a couple little workarounds that we're going to look at. But for the most part, you are going to leave this training today with at least having a little bit more confidence in knowing what you're doing. So if you are at home and if you're maybe watching this on the computer or watching this from your iPad or tablet or laptop or whatever, maybe you can also have Excel pulled up at the same time, if that's something that will work for you. I will say I am a Mac girl. I live in the world of Mac, and so I use Numbers, which is Mac's version of Microsoft Windows Suite, right? Which is Excel, Word, PowerPoint. All of those things are Microsoft products. Now I did purchase the Microsoft Office Suite. And so I own a license for that. So that's how I'm able to actually get Excel on my Mac. So if you're somebody who uses an iPad or a MacBook, and you are not sure, like, how do I even get Excel? You can get Excel, okay? You can. Even if you are working off of a Google template or something like that, you can still use the Excel version. You will have to download that. You will have to subscribe to Microsoft in order to get that. So if that's something that you don't have access to, you don't want to get whatever, that is fine. Google Sheets is free. And I will say that that is probably the best user-friendly program when it comes to the Excel or spreadsheet world, okay? So just so you guys had an idea of what programs go with what, why, and like I said, maybe if you're like me and you're an Apple person, you may be thinking, well, why don't I have Excel on my computer? That's why, because it's a Microsoft product. It's a Windows product. So without further ado, let me go ahead and share the screen, and we are going to hop right in. Hop right in. There we go. All right. I'm going to pull this up. And now we're going to take a look at my screen. Okay. You can see I am already in my workstation. So um, I've got my dashboard out here, the orders tab, reporting, news, marketing, blah, 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 blah. Okay, all the things. I am actually on my contacts tab. Now I've squeezed it down. Okay, so I've shortened my window because you can maybe kind of see the tops, but there is all my customer information there. This is my contacts tab. Now I will say and make this right from the beginning. I personally do not work from this tab simply because it is very unuser friendly. If you've ever looked at your contacts tab in your workstation, I will say it probably does seem overwhelming and daunting. And for me personally, it's just messed up. I don't have a better word for it. I just don't. It's unorganized. It's not user friendly. And trust me, we have given myself and many other consultants, thousands of other consultants probably, have given this feedback to Scentsy. They are promising that they are working on it. So holding out hope, right, for an update to the contacts tab, because if you're like me, if you've been in this business for a while, or when you originally started, you weren't really thinking about the information you were putting in when you were putting in orders, then this contacts tab or section of your workstation is a black hole. That's how it is for me, okay? Going on 11 years now doing Scentsy, and I will tell you, when I first started, I didn't really realize the importance of, if I got an order from my friend Andrea and I was putting it into my workstation, I just thought, oh, well, I'll just put it in under my name. That's easier, right? Because I don't know Andrea's address, and I think I've got her email, but I don't even know where that is right now. So it's much quicker if I just put it in under my name. I know where it's going. It's going to ship to me, and then I'm going to package it up, and then I'm going to take it to Andrea. But this is going to get her in and get that order done, right? Yeah, that was the easy way to begin with. Now what am I left with? I am left with a contacts tab of Jacqui Duran or Jacqueline Duran, or, and all like thousands of these, right? And it's all my info of previous address. I think I've kept my same phone number all these years, but you get the point, right? So it's like, how would I go in there and even try to figure those out? That's ridiculous in and of itself. Not to mention the customers that I've had over the years, right? They may have gone through my website and purchased, and when they purchased one time, maybe they didn't give me all their information, right? So I may only have maybe a name and an address and an email, and a home phone number that doesn't work, or an email that really doesn't work, right? Like it just bounces every time I send them something. And that's what happens, right? And so it's hard for me to be able to go in there and tag things or remove them, because I will tell you, I have spent many, many, many hours of being in this tab trying to merge, delete duplicates, just make sense of it all. And I'm still in the same position. Sad to say. So if you are at a point in your business where you are now wanting to move into different systems with your business, for example, Project Broadcast is a very popular one right now, right? So maybe you're wanting to get started with Project Broadcast, and you've been told, okay, you need to import your contacts into Project Broadcast, right? So you can get started. And so you've been told, go to your contacts tab, because that's where your customers live, right? Their information. And you download this into an Excel spreadsheet, and you're like, OMG, I have 5,000 Jacqui Durans. Yeah, it's a problem. Or if you're looking to, like, I utilize MailChimp and Flowdesk. I'm starting Flowdesk now, training to come. But starting those email funneling programs, right, for my customer base, and even uploading those contacts has just been a jumble, and it's been very frustrating. For those of you who are newer, I'm going to tell you right here, right now, do better than me. Okay? Do better than me. Don't go in and just put things underneath your name. Even if you don't have all their information, still use as much information as you can. And then really work on knowing what information you want to have to be able to follow up, okay? So again, I'm telling you this from my personal experience. So even if it is that close friend that you work with or you've known forever since kindergarten, right? You're like, yeah, but I don't really know their address. I mean, I know where they live, but I don't really know their address. And I don't, I mean, maybe I've texted them before, but I don't really know. I don't have time to look that up, right? Trust me, take my advice and take the 10 extra seconds it's going to take to say, hey, I just need your name. Well, maybe not your name. Maybe you know the name. I just need your email, a good cell phone or text number so I can reach you by text communication, and an email. Those would be my top 3 things to get every single time. If you can get addresses, that's even better, right? Now, if they are ordering off of your website and not through you, well, their address is going to show up because that's where it's getting shipped to, right? So you're going to be able to get that information, which is a lifesaver. But for yourself, putting in orders, please, 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 don't be a Jacqui. Do better than me, okay? Ask them for their email, their phone or text, and what did I say? Name, phone, email. That's really, honestly, the key things that I really need. Again, I can get their address later or I can input that in later, but at least get those 3. If not, get all 4. Include the address, okay? Just because it's going to save you so much headache going forward, okay? When you are ready to implement project broadcasts or a email campaign or a texting program or whatever it is that you're going to be utilizing this data for, okay? All right, I've put it out there. Got through the hard part. Okay, so what I am left with, yes, is going on 11 years of literally a big, think of like this room filled to the brim of Post-it notes with random information all over them. That's what my contact tab looks like right now, okay? But because it does have customer information on it, I'm not going to show it here, okay? So I would scroll up, but I'm not going to. What you're going to do though is you're going to come to your contacts tab. Yours is going to show all of your contacts. You're going to see down here on the screen, you've got some options, right? You can create and run some filters for this, right? So you can tell it exactly what you want out of this. And that is honestly what I will suggest. So what I would do is I would come in here and I would do the choose columns. Now, the way that I like to do this, because even this can get a little overwhelming, right? There's a lot of choices here. So I like to remove all. Just start blank, remove all. What do I need? Okay, I need their first name. I need their last name. I really want an email. Do I want a birthday? Sure. Do I always get a birthday? No. So for me and how it looks in my business right now, this birthday column is just going to be junk for me because 9 times out of 10, it's going to default to what the system gives as a default birthday, which is, I believe, 1/9 of 1900 or something. I don't know what the actual default is, but it just defaults to that generic birthday. Okay. So for me, that is not a reliable source. If I'm going to get their birthday info from my customers and utilize that maybe in birthday emails or texts or sending birthday mail, whatever it is that you decide to do in your business, right? Hopefully you'll have a better system going forward, whether or not that's like a Jot form or a Google form where you're asking them for that info, those kinds of ways. Okay, so that's what I would suggest in getting that info. Gender, do I need that? No. Address one, yeah, I need that. That's their first line of their address that they put in. Address two, that's usually where people will put like apartment number ABC, right? Or whatever their apartment number is. So I do want that. There is also in some of our contact forms a spot for address three. So it will actually give 3 lines of an address. If somebody has put that in there, right? Like they've put 222 Cedar Crest Drive, apartment 6, lot 24, right? And they put that on all 3 lines, whatever. I'm making up addresses. Either way, I still want to include that just to make sure that I'm not missing any crucial apartment number, unit number, lot number, anything like that, okay? I need their zip code if I'm going to be mailing things out to them, so I want that. I need their city. I need their state. Now, if you have customers, which I have customers in the US and in Canada, so for me, the county, or I'm sorry, the country can be very helpful for me because obviously I need to know if I'm going to be trying to send something internationally, right? Even if it's to Canada, that's still international for me here in the US. I have to actually go to the post office. I have to get that international form and all of the things. So that might be helpful to you. If you do not have customers outside of the US, then don't worry about adding this in. The same thing with the county, okay, that they live in. Yes, it's something that the system automatically pulls forward. Do I need it? No. Home phone number, yeah, because I'd like to be able to know. And here's the thing, you guys. Some people, even though it says home phone number, this is just yet another piece of the contacts tab that I despise because a lot of people, most people nowadays don't even have a landline. So they consider their cell phone as their home phone number, right? So they may be using that home phone number slot with their actual cell phone number and not even putting anything for the cell phone number slot or vice versa, right? And so right now, because my contacts tab is a hot mess, I need to have both home and I need to have the cell to be able to find it, okay? Another thing that could be helpful would be last purchase. That's going to give you the date that they last ordered from you. Okay. So for me, right, again, going on, a while here in Scentsy, I have customers who I've had for years and years and years and years. So for me, that is a tab that is helpful because my customers may have changed addresses, right? They may have moved over the years. And so by going from the last purchase date, I know I'm getting the most current address that I have. If this is something, again, you're newer, you feel pretty confident in knowing, okay, I don't really think that I have a whole lot of customers like that, then you don't need to include that. Another sign of the times that this is just an old formatting. Last purchase brand. Years and years and years and years ago in Scentsy history, we had other product lines besides Scentsy. We had Velada, which was our, it was really like a fondue line, right? We had fondue type of pots that worked on our same system for our warmers, right? Where we could get chocolate melts, white milk, dark chocolate, and then it would melt them down. We had cheeses, so we could kind of do like, nacho cheese dips, things like that, okay? Then we also had Grace Adele, where we sold purses and keychains and scarves, I think, and I just a whole bunch of stuff. Obviously, Velada and Grace Adele did not make it through since he was just the brand for us. But that just shows that that is what that actual category is pulling from. Do I need that information? No, I don't. Neither do you. Category. Now, this could be very helpful if you are a leader, okay? So if you are a leader who have had consultants or team members or downline who have dropped off, when they drop off, if they had customers who had Scentsy clubs or anything like that, when that consultant leaves Scentsy and officially drops out, their their customers for Scentsy Club will roll up to you, and then they will become your Scentsy Club subscribers because Scentsy needs a place to put them. So it always rolls up to the upline when someone goes. So that may be something that is good, because in that category, and you'll see on my example that I'm going to show you in a second, that is something I can look at, and we'll see what that looks like. So may or may not be helpful for you. Communication preference, again, not a lot of people are filling that out, so I don't feel that it's helpful. Host, that would be the host if they had a party. Bad email, notes, cell phone, I do want cell phone. Work phone, Scentsy newsletter, or Scentsy newsletter opted out. I don't really need those for this purpose. So I'm just going to click OK. And as you can kind of see, as you can kind of see, is now I have just the straight columns that I want. Okay. So what I would do if this was me is I would come in here and I would save this report and I would name it export info. That would tell me when I come in here to run a report out of my contacts tab that those are just the same things that I want to run every single time. Okay. So it tells me that that report was saved successfully. So I now have a report down there under where it says saved reports that says that. So now I can just go to there every single time. So that is, again, what I would do. Now, when you're ready, you're going to click on the export to Excel piece, okay? So when you export that, that is actually going to download a zip file, and it's going to download it to your device, whatever that might be. Let's go ahead and let me pull this up. All right, so let's pull up our Excel. All right, so this is what you get. Now, as you can see, I have blacked out a lot of the defining information. I'm not even going to scroll down because I didn't really go all the way, but I wanted to still give you what is actual real information so you can see what it looks like, okay? Now, this is before I saved the report, deleted those columns. So this is just defaulted as to what Scentsy gave me and that option for doing all of that. So name included first and last. Then it breaks it down into first, middle, and last name, email, birthday. So there's that default birthday, 1/1 of 1900. Do you see how, and that's just looking at these top people, right? I don't have their birth dates. That's why that column just, for me, is not, it's not good, because coming out of my workstation, I'm not getting accurate data from that. Gender, not getting accurate data, nor does it make a difference for me and my business. I could care less what gender they are or are not, right? Address, obviously, that's important, right? But I have blacked that out. Address 2, just so happens I only have like one that happened to show up there, but that's what that would look like. Again, address 3 if there's something there. Postal or zip code, you can see it's full zip codes there, and then that's just the regular 5 digits. But if it's shipping to them, then Scentsy automatically will pull forward those last 4 digits. So that's why you see the difference in a lot of those. Obviously, the city where they live, the state where they live, the country that they live in, their county. Again, when I'm mailing, I don't need the county information. Home phone number, yeah, I kind of needed that, right? So home phone number, I have blacked that out. Last purchase date. So here's where you can see the last purchase date. You can see, look at these guys right here. Look at that generic info. That's just, see, I'm telling you, this is the struggle. So there's that generic info in there, not helpful at all. I wasn't a consultant in the year 1900. So that data is not good for me. But it might be like for some of these, and I could go back to look to see where my duplicates are, but maybe this person ordered from me in 2016 and then ordered again from me in 2022. Obviously, the 2022 date would be the one where I'd want to pull that address from. Here's that category that we talked about briefly. That category in that report. So personal or inherited customer. So there's where that difference is, right? So I inherited that customer because that means a downline rolled off, is no longer selling Scentsy. And so whether it's their customers who had Scentsy Club or what have you, those guys rolled up to me, and those are my inherited customers. That gives me an idea as somebody who's maybe trying to build relationships. Hey, I'm Jacqui. I'm your new Scentsy person, right? So that would be a good conversation starter. Personal means that they started with you. Newsletter, newsletter cleanse. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Communication preference, text is what I see here. Whether or not that's true, I really cannot trust it, so I don't really use it. Host, that's if there was a host, if it was a bad email. Notes, original consultant, and I should have probably blacked that out, but I can pull it forward. So that tells me who the original consultant was, and you can see because I inherited that customer, I know who that person originally belonged to. So I could go back and specifically when I'm building that relationship, I could go back and say, hi, I'm Jacqui. I know that Kelly used to be your consultant, but they're no longer with Scentsy. I'm more than happy to take care of your needs now. You see in the cell phone category in the first line here of what I have, I don't even have cell phones listed, but there we go. Scentsy newsletter subscriber, true means that they are, false means that they are not. If they've opted out, again, that is just info that if they have opted out, that means they didn't want to receive any more communication from me. Now, now that I'm using Jotform, that's where I do a lot of my systems. They all run through Jotform as my funnel. I'm getting that accurate information. So it really is not accurate coming out of my workstation. So I'm not using it. But I just wanted to give you an overview of what you see. Okay. Now, let's actually get into some details of using Excel. So what I've done here, just for purposes of training, is I have strictly made up these customers, okay? So we are going to pretend that this Excel spreadsheet is what my real one is, all right? So let's just open this up. So we've got it all here. All right. We've got their first name, their last name, their email, birthdays, notice their actual birthdays, address, what would pop up in the address to line, their zip, their city, their state, their country, their phone. Okay, last purchase date, and I did just do a couple examples there. All right, so what do we want to do with this info? Okay, first of all, if we need to export this into Project Broadcast, a program like that, or even MailChimp, when you're exporting there, they want a CSV file. That is a comma separated value. CSV file, not an Excel file, which is an XLS, X file, something. Anyway, so I'm going to come up here to save as. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this to a CSV. So I'm just going to put example there. And down here for the format, I'm going to select CSV, comma, selected values, okay? All right, I'm going to hit save. That's actually going to save it as that CSV file. So then I've got that CSV file, I've got that saved. So now when I'm ready to go into Project Broadcast or into MailChimp, all I have to do, yeah, I know it's going to, it's okay. I still want it saved that way, I think. So, no. Okay. All right, we're good. In my downloads, we can see here's my download in the CSV file. So when I'm ready to go into Project Broadcast, that's what I'm going to be pulling up, okay, is that file. I'm just going to drag and I'm going to drop it in. All right, let's go back to our Excel and let's see how we can manipulate these things. So let's say that you wanted to sort, remember you've got a whole bunch of customers here. Maybe you want to sort by first name, you just want to go alphabetical. Well, maybe that would be better by last name. You just want to go alphabetical, right? So I'm going to show you just some basic ways to manipulate data. So we're going to select this. First and foremost, we have columns and we have rows. Columns go vertical, rows are horizontal, okay? So column B is where I'm at now. My row is where I'm at now. That's row 3. See how that highlights the entire row. I want to sort by column. So I'm going to sort by the last name. So I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to come over to here in my tools. I've got sort and filter. If I click on that down chevron, you can see I can sort A to Z, so alphabetically. I can sort backwards, Z to A. I could do a custom sort, or I could do a filter. So for here, because I want to go alphabetically, I'm going to sort A to Z. It's going to say expand the selection or continue with the current selection. Expand the selection every time. That keeps all the info in the rows connected to each other. Otherwise, if you hit continue with current selection, then that's going to put their info with other people and it's just going to mess everything up. Expand the selection. Always keep that. Sort by that. Now I'm in alphabetical order by last name. There we go. Now let's say that, let's see here. How else can we do this? Let's filter. Let's show how we can do a filter. Maybe you wanted to filter by the state where they live, or maybe it's the country. We're going to do state because I've got multiples, but pretend this is country. Maybe you just wanted to see your USA people, right? And you could then filter those out. So we're going to go back. We're going to highlight our column J because that's the column we want. I'm going to click the down chevron and I'm going to click on filter. Now, when I click on filter, what that did is that gave me a little down chevron, oops, in that box there. So when I click on that, it's going to give me the options of filtering. And you can see that I can select all and keep them all selected, or I can pull out just the people who live in Kansas, who live in Missouri, who live in Ohio, or because I don't have such a long list, all of those blanks on this spreadsheet. So I'm going to unselect all, and maybe I just want to see the Missouri people. Boom. Notice how it took away the others. Now, it didn't delete them. They're just hidden from my view because I'm filtering to just look for this. All right. So again, this would be useful in the country. That would be good in that tab. If you wanted to filter by last purchase, maybe that would be easier to do it that way. But I'm going to go back. I'm just going to select all, put them back in. And there we go. So we've got that. When you're ready to take that filter off, you just go back, highlight your column, go back and click on filter, and that will take that filter off. That button is now gone. All right, now maybe this is shorter because I wanted to condense so I could see everything all on one screen, right? Maybe this screen has a lot of info on it. Now, maybe I want to wrap the text so I can see it a little bit better. For example, in the email address, I want to be able to see their full email address when I'm looking at it like this. I don't have a lot of room to work out because I'm looking at multiple columns. So what I want to do is I want to wrap the text. What that's going to do is that's going to expand these boxes so that way you can see the entire contents of that column. So I've selected the column C that I want. I'm going to click on wrap text. And now you'll see that that made it bigger, right? That filled it out bigger. I want to do the same thing on the address, right? Because that's cutting off my address. It's actually rolling into address 2. So I want to do wrap text. There we go. Now it's all in one. Now, in order to really size these, you see up here, it's pointing down, so it's selecting. But when I go to the edge of that line, that's where it comes to be that little separator. If you click and drag, you can make these columns as long or as wide as you want to, right? So depending on where you want to go, if you don't want to wrap your text, you don't have to, okay? And now you can see, I can see all of those a lot better. So maybe you want to, you know, pull this in more so it's just a little tighter. But now you see I've cut off the name in that title field. So now what I want to do is I want to go to here and maybe I'll select the column and I'll hit wrap text. That way in each column, all of the words appear. I can pull that out so it looks just a little bit better. Address 2, okay? Same thing, if I pull that in, see, I can manipulate that. All right. So we've got that happening. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do wrap text for the home phone as well. So all that is in the same line. Okay, I think we're good now. Now, let's go ahead and let's say that we want to center this up top and we want all of these to be centered in the columns. So if I do that, you can see, so sorry, I'm stuffed up today. It's already defaulted to align left, but maybe I want to center it. So by clicking that, I've now centered it into each column. Or if I want to align it on the right-hand side, now it's aligned to the right. Sometimes just keeping it centered is the best way to do it. Now maybe I want to add a color to that top so I can differentiate that from the rest of the spreadsheet, right? So if I come up here to fill color, I'm going to fill color and I'm just going to do a light color because that just makes it easier for that text to come through. And boom. So now I've just made it that little green color. Make it whatever color you'd like. So now we've got a color in there. Maybe I want to change the color of the font. You can see here, this is going to be your font color selector. So I can come here, hit my pull down, and I can change it to whatever color I want. That's going to select that color for the entire category or column. I'm sorry. There it is. So there's red. I've now made birthday the red line. Another feature that you may have seen but didn't know how to do. Now I want to actually add, because if I were to print this out as is, it's not going to have these little grayed out boxes, right? This is just going to look like a blank page with info on it. But maybe I'm going to be printing this out and I want to be able to highlight as I'm mailing things out, or I use a binder system, so I want to be able to print this out, but I still want it to look like it's in the columns, right? So I'm able to look at it better. So what I'm going to do is actually create those boxes. So what I have done is I'm going to come up here to the top one. I'm going to click and drag to highlight all of the columns I have. Now, it can go on forever and into eternity, okay? But these are the columns that I have. These are the ones that I want. So now I'm going to go here. And this is your border box, okay? So your border box, I'm going to hit the down chevron because I want to see the different examples I have. Now, this will just do a bottom border on all, top, a left, a right, no border, which is currently what it's defaulted to, all borders. I can give the outside of the entire thing a really thick border. I can do all of these things. I can draw, erase, I can do the line style or color, right? I can make them all different ways. So I'm just going to go to all borders. When I click that, now you see I've got those black lines in there. So if I was to then want to print this, to put it into my binder system or have it to work on so I can write or highlight or color in when I'm doing mail outs, then I've got it and it's pretty, right? And it's much easier for me to look at that data when it's printed out. For me personally, it also is it's so much easier for me to look at it when it's like this, even when it's on my screen. It just does for me. So that's one of the things that I do for every spreadsheet that I'm working in. So I add those borders in. So that's something that you may want to actually get acquainted with. Let's see here. Now, All right, we've done sort and filter. We've wrapped the text. We have given ourselves some borders. We've done some formatting. Obviously, you've got the same if you're working in any other anything else, right? You can come up here, you can change your fonts, you can change the font size. You can do all of those things with the info that you have. But I mean, depending on what you're really using it for, you may or may not even want to do that. But let's say for the sake of looking at this, maybe I just want to very quickly be able to email my people. This is actually how I do it as well. So let me just pull up Chrome very quickly because I just need to pull up, I need to pull up let me stop share for a quick second. Just because I don't want to share anybody's info because that would just be rude. So I'm just opening my email. I am going to hit compose so I have an empty email box ready to go. All right. Now let me pull this up and let's go back to sharing the screen. All right, so now I've just hit compose, right? I'm ready to fill in to send an email. So if I go back to my Excel spreadsheet, I'm going to send an email. Maybe, and this is something when I run a report once a week, I like to do an email to my team members, right? So I actually go to the reporting tab, I export to Excel, just like what you're seeing here, right? And then I've fixed my columns so it looks what I need it to look like, right? Now it looks very visually easy for me to sort through and see things. Now I want to just very quickly send an email to all of these customers, right? Maybe I've got 35 of them here, right? All I have to do is come in here. Okay, I didn't want to do that, sorry. I'm going to come in here, and because those are highlighted, that's why it's doing that. But I'm going to come here, I'm going to highlight all of them. I'm going to right click and copy. Then when I go back to my email, here's a little trick with email. I don't necessarily want everybody to see everybody else's email address, right? I don't want them to see other people. I don't like sharing other people's info. So what I do is I just pull up my own email in the to section, and then I go to blind carbon copy. That means that the recipients are not going to be able to see each other. Carbon copy means that you can. So if I was sending this, and sometimes this is how I utilize carbon copy, the CC function. If I am sending this to a new downline member, not me, okay, not me, but one of my team members recruited a new person, and I wanted to send a welcome email, but I also wanted to send the person who added that team member, right? I would CC the team member, and then I would also CC, or well, the to address would be to the new team member, and then I would CC my current team member. So they see exactly what I've just sent their new person. So they know, for one, that I've done a welcome to their new person. Maybe I've included things that they didn't think about, right? But they're involved in the process. So that's one way that I use the CC function. The BCC function, though, specifically when I'm emailing my customers, is what I will use. I don't want the customers to see anyone else's info. So remember, I've copied. It's copied to the clipboard. I come in here to my email. I go to the BCC. I right click and paste. And now, and these are, well, that one happens to be a real email, so I apologize for whoever B Nickel is, but I just literally made those up. So these are really not real people, at least not to me. So that's just how they will show up, right, in BCC. And now I can say congrats, and then I can say, you know, congrats on working so hard in your business this month. Now, when I hit send, that is automatically going to send to them. They're not going to see each other's addresses, okay? All right, so we have done that. So that's how you can copy and paste from there. You could do the same thing if you were going to import those into another program, right? Copy and paste, copy and paste, copy and paste. Maybe you have Trello that you work from. You could utilize that in the Trello to be able to easily copy and paste things, okay? Let's see. Trying to think of other things. Okay, maybe you've decided you do not need address 3. Maybe you've exported all of that info out of your contacts tab, but there's absolutely nobody has anything in address 3. You want to get rid of that column because why? Because it's not doing anything for you. There's no info there, right? So if you want to delete a column, just highlight, and then you can right click, delete. That deleted that entire column out. Now you'll see that it automatically moved the columns over. So now this is column G. This is the new column. Maybe I want to, maybe I just want to hide the cell phone for now. Or maybe I want to hide the birthday. I don't need the birthday right now, but I'm trying to really focus on mailing things out. So I want to hide the things that I don't need. Or, sorry, hide the things that I don't need. So I'm going to highlight column D, right click, and I'm going to go to hide. Now you'll see, look, there's a little double line there. That shows me, and you can also see it goes from C to E. Where'd D go, right? It's hidden in there in that thicker line. So I know that there's a column hidden there if I need to go unhide it. Again, I'm doing mail out, so I don't need their home phone either. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to highlight, hide. I don't need that. Same thing with cell phone. Hide that. I don't need it. Highlight. Oh, hide that. I don't need it. Oh, darn it. Yes, I do. Shoot, I wanted to see the last purchase. So now if I go on there and I right click on that double line, I can click unhide. Boom, my line is back, or my column is back. I'm going to do the same thing again, unhide. That cell phone column is back, okay? So that's how you can hide things. For example, when you are looking at, I just want to look at this info. So you save this as your main spreadsheet, but you're working from it in different things. So the next time, maybe you've saved this to your computer. Next time you want to go through and you just want to text people, right? So you want to pull that cell phone back out, right? So you're going to come back here. You're going to go to unhide until you see your cell phone category come back. Okay, same thing with, oops. Same thing here. I'm going to go to that double line, click unhide. Now I want the birthday back because I want to actually send out birthday cards now. Now I've unhidden it. So there it is. So a quick and easy way of just an overview of how you can manipulate different things. Maybe I want to move the birthday column way over here because I really don't use it that much and I really want everything all together. If you click, highlight that column, click, sorry, let me do this early. Highlight the column, right click, cut, come over here to the end, right click, paste. There we go. Now I've cut that out, which means now I have a whole new column that I can work with here. I don't want that column. I can now delete. And that deleted it, didn't hide it, it deleted it. That's why it's still in that value there. But now the birthday is over here in this column. Because it's down there, I don't need it all the way over here. I'm really just focusing on this info. So that's what I want to focus on. Maybe I want to highlight each row as I've done it so I know, hey, I've done that row. So I highlight the row. I'm going to highlight it yellow. I know it's done. Done. Same thing here. Oh, done. Now I'm going to save it. And then tomorrow when I come back, I could go, okay, everybody who's highlighted, I know I've already sent mail to them. Oh, look, Amanda Answer. I haven't sent her mail yet. So she's not highlighted. Now I know this is where I left off yesterday. So that gives me a starting point to begin with. So you can see that there are a lot of different ways that you can do a whole bunch of different things. Again, this is just a very high level overview of easy things. Excel is a very, very, very smart, intuitive program. So if you need things more than this, then I would highly suggest going on YouTube and watching just some Excel trainings if you want to start learning different things, okay? But very quickly, let me show you. Once you've got this in Excel, I'm going to go ahead and, no, we're not going to do that today because I'm going to keep it on a higher level for you. These are really probably the most common things that you're going to do when you're just starting out by getting things into Excel, right? Because like I said, once you've now saved it as that CSV file, you can upload that into MailChimp and your mail program, into Project Broadcast, all of those beautiful things, and it will keep all of that info for you, right? Or again, if you're printing this out to be able to use this in your binder system or for follow-ups or for mailing, you have the info. So I hope that this has given you a little bit less anxiety on what is happening with Excel. So this is a good starting point. Just get comfortable with what this looks like now. Feel free to go in there and manipulate. And another thing that I will tell you is you've got that undo button in there. So if by chance you accidentally do something, let me pull that back up again for you so you can see how that works. Let's say I just, whatever it was that I did last, I don't even remember, but maybe I did that by accident. Oh, shoot. How did I do that? Undo. Undo is your friend. So hit undo. Look, there, the highlight was the last thing I did there. Oh, shoot. I highlighted Brad and I didn't yet send him that. So I unhighlighted him. So now I know tomorrow that's where I need to still do Brad's mail because I didn't get to him. That undo button is your friend. You've still got a forward. So there we go. Oops, nope, I really was wrong. I really did send it to Brad. I don't know. But there you go. So that's how you can go back and forth when you're doing that. So get familiar, learn these basic things, and then when you're ready to move on, you can get into much more advanced things when it comes to Excel. But this should give you a very high level overview. Share this with your teams if you want to get them ready to start pulling reports, manipulating reports, starting with Project Broadcast, starting with a MailChimp or Flowdesk system, right? Any way that you need to be able to get those files from your workstation into the system that you're utilizing. Or maybe you just want it to look really pretty when you print it out. That is what I did for a long time. So there you have it. Like I said, feel free to share this. Feel free to share your tips as well. I would love to hear your tips, or maybe something I didn't cover that I can cover for you in an upcoming training. So that's what I've got for you today. Happy excelling. And I know that you guys can do this. Talk to you soon.